What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update. Before we get into it, please head over to WeAreTottenhamTV.com and enter our live competition, which is running for a week, where it's your chance to win 2 T-shirts for you and a friend. So 1 T-shirt each. And all you need to do is enter your name and email. Link will be in the description below to how you can enter. But just click the link, enter your details, click enter now, and then you are in it to win it. But let's get into the Tottenham news. We brought you earlier today that James Maddison has been left out the England squad, and he's put a statement out on social media saying, devastated, doesn't quite cut it, trained well and worked hard all week. But if I'm honest with myself, my form for Spurs when coming back from the injury in the second half of the season probably wasn't at the levels which I had set, which gave Gareth a decision to make. I still thought there would be a space for me in the 26-man squad, as I feel I bring something different, and had been a mainstay in the whole qualifying campaign for Euro 2024 in Germany. But the manager has made the decision, and I have to respect that. I'll be back, I have no doubt. Wishing the boys all the luck in the world out in Germany. Unbelievable group, and the lads, which I literally call some of my best friends. I genuinely hope football comes home. So yeah, obviously he is gutted beyond belief. And when you play that much, or when you're involved in every squad leading up to the tournament in terms of qualifying, and you don't make the squad, it's understandable. But I guess it's good for him as well to realise that his form wasn't good enough leading up to the tournament.
Yeah, I'm glad he's not, spitting his dummy out the pram and blaming this one and that one, and has some self-reflection that at the end of the day he wasn't good enough in the latter stages of last season to justify being called out into the squad. Frustrating thing is, obviously, in the friendly, he only got a few minutes. Maybe he might have felt like he didn't have enough time to justify, getting a chance to prove that he should be in the squad. I do get his point when he says he maybe offers something that is not really available in the team. I do think that his kind of profile, we don't have too many or any of his kind of profile player, to be honest, in the squad. So I do feel like he would offer something which other players don't. But when you're talking about selecting him, you look at who you're going to leave out, and it's tough to look in terms of the squad who's going to be left out. Unless you're maybe leaving out an Adam Wharton or a Kobe Mainoo, there's not really anyone you can leave him out for just based on form. So I think, unfortunately, Southgate did have a tough decision to make, and time will tell whether he made the right one. But I'm glad Maddison has that perspective on things, and let's hope next season he can put it right.
Yeah, and I have no doubt he will come back stronger. The other players that were left out, Curtis Jones, Jack Grealish, Jarrod Quansah, Harry Maguire, James Trafford and Darren Branthwaite. Has to be said that Harry Maguire is going into the tournament with a calf injury, and he was expected not to play any of the group stage games and maybe become fit after that. But Southgate has made the decision to leave these players out. I mean, in terms of Jack Grealish and James Maddison, that's obviously the 2 big names that have been left out. That has probably been in every squad for the qualifiers, along with Harry Maguire. I thought Jarrod Branthwaite should have gone, to be fair. I was one that said he should have started in the tournament, never mind just been in the squad. But I can understand Quansah, I can understand Curtis Jones and James Trafford. But yeah, I think Branthwaite should have gone. I think the decision to leave out Maddison and Grealish is probably right, judging by the amount of football and form that they're on. But what's your thoughts regarding the players that have been left out?
Well, looking at our centre-back options now, we've got Dunk, Guehi, Stones, Joe Gomez and Quansah. Doesn't really scream of that much quality there, apart from maybe like John Stones. I think, look, Guehi's obviously good. Gomez is versatile, but for me...
Quansah's a good player as well.
Quansah's not going.
Oh, Quansah's left out as well?
Quansah?
Quansah.
Oh, Quansah, yeah, Quansah's there. But I think Branthwaite should have gone ahead of Dunk. I would have taken Branthwaite ahead of Dunk, but I guess maybe he's thinking we need a bit more experience in our back line. But Dunk has had a great season, to be honest. And when he played for England against Belgium, he looked out of his depth.
Who do you think gets the nod next to Stones? It's got to be Guehi, right?
Based on that, it has to be Guehi, yeah. That would be the best option for me. Obviously, Quansah, I feel like you might see him as more of a right back. But obviously we got Walker and we got Trippier, so I don't know if he's that. Well, Trippier might be seen as a left back, to be honest. So maybe he's seen Quansah and thinking he might have to play backup right back if Trippier's playing the left back role. Shaw's not fit, and then Gomez can play all across the back line, so he's taken him because of his versatility.
Is Reece James gone? He hasn't gone, has he?
No. Reece James hasn't gone either. Yeah, there's. I think the other decisions I think are fine. But I think Branford probably should have gone.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see some of the reaction over social media. Look at this shithouse, Neil Morpie. As soon as the Maddison news was come to light, he tweets out him holding up 3 darts in front of a darts board with the biggest smile on his face. I mean, I cannot wait till we play Brentford. Is he at Brentford? He's played Brentford next season.
He's on loan at Brentford. He's going back to Everton.
Oh, so I can't wait till we play Everton and James Maddison shows him on the pitch like he did last time.
He won't even be at Everton. He's not good enough to even stay at Everton. He's probably...
This guy is so shameless. How shameless can a guy be? Not good enough to play for his national team. Can hardly get into his club side. Only gets in because of injuries and stuff like that. And then he has the right and the gall to do this to Maddison.
Yeah, this is the reaction he wants, the bastard. He wants people to get riled up. He's just a major shit. He doesn't care about anything. He just cares about riling up rival fans. And it's a shame because if he spent a bit more time maybe concentrating on his football career, he might have been doing a bit better. But unfortunately, this is what he spends his time doing. So leave him to it, I say.
Yeah, well, that's him. And there's been some Spurs players that have come out in support of James Maddison as well. Brennan Johnson, Manor Solomon and Pedro Porro showing their support to James. And obviously Pedro Porro knows firsthand exactly what it's like because he was left out the Spain squad. And Brennan Johnson just put a red heart emoji. Pedro Porro says heads up. And Manor Solomon says head up, brother, with a white emoji, heart emoji. So some good support from the team. And look, I have no doubt in my mind, like I've said multiple times now, that Pedro Porro and James Maddison are going to come out with a big point to prove next season. 100%. Next up, let's talk about Giovanni Lo Celso because there's been some quotes from the Real Betis president, Angel Haro, on rumours that Giovanni Lo Celso is returning to the club. And he says, it is recurrent every summer the name Lo Celso appears because we have a memory of a good year he had here. However, as of now, there is no offer from us. We like him, but nothing more right now.
Well, probably to this day, it's probably the best season of his career, isn't it? The one he spent at Real Betis, scoring 16 goals, I believe, in all competitions. Scored quite a few in Europa League as well for them. So that season was what why Spurs decided to spend that money on him based on what we
signed
saw.
him the season after that, didn't we?
Yeah. So I understand why they're probably looking at that, thinking if we can get that player back who played for us, back in 2019, then he'd be worth the money. But will Betis come up with the cash? Will they want, a cheap deal? Remains to be seen. As he said, there's no deal on the table. I think Spurs are going to look to try and obviously get some money. And if not, maybe we'll have to be a loan to someone like Betis.
If Betis don't seem to be if they're not interested in him, let's say for argument's sake, he's rejected a move to Saudi, do you reckon there's an option that we actually keep him? Maybe offer him a year extension on his deal or something?
I wouldn't completely rule out if we're not getting any good offers. I think he's probably... I mean, it depends obviously who we've got lined up, but if we sell him, we're going to have to spend money to replace him on number 10. If we can't find any suitable clubs for him, we're better off giving him a contract extension and keeping him rather than loaning him out, in my opinion, because otherwise that's more wasted money. And he's a player we can use and he can fit the system. Obviously, in a perfect world, I'd rather sell him and buy a replacement, someone who's more available. But if we only have to rely on him as a backup, and hopefully he can... Obviously, he wasn't really last season available for the games he needed to be available for, but hopefully this season maybe it can be different. I mean, I can say that every season it hasn't been, so I would assume it wouldn't be. But all I'm saying is I'd rather keep him than give him away, essentially.
Yeah, I think I really rate him as a player, but when you have the availability that he has, even in the last stage of the season, when we were calling on someone creative in the middle of the park, in the middle of the season to come in for Maddison in the last stage of the season, he could only get a few minutes. Ange really didn't fancy him and didn't want to give him the chance. So if that is the case and Ange doesn't fancy him, then I think it's better just to loan him out and to bring in a replacement with someone that Ange is really going to fully believe in. And if he doesn't believe in him, then what's the point of having him around?
I completely agree. In a perfect world, that's what I would do.
Joe Rodon, Alistair Gold says that Tottenham have decided to trigger the option to extend Joe Rodon's contract by another year. However, he is still expected to leave the club this summer. So obviously Spurs just getting a bit of value in Joe Rodon after the stunning season he's had at Ellen Road.
Makes complete sense. Obviously, he's now got his stock is quite high. We can probably get a decent fee, probably even get our money back for him, I would assume. Considering
How much do we pay?
About 12 mil. So we'll probably get something around that if we sell him. Well, the only thing that surprises me about this deal is the fact we didn't do it for Tanganga, and we decided to let Tanganga go rather than do the same thing, give him an extension and try and sell him.
Maybe the thinking behind the Tanganga one, he's an academy product. We didn't spend any money on bringing him to the club.
That's pure profit then.
Yeah, it is pure profit, but he's given a lot of service since he was 9 years old, and they're just like doing the decent thing and letting him go for free, and for him having the pick and the choice of where he wants to go.
Again, or maybe the only other thing I would argue is maybe he didn't have an extension clause.
Potentially,
and he had to sign it rather than. I think Sessegnon had a clause which we didn't take up. I don't know if actually Tanganga had a clause in his contract.
That's also
or
a
not.
good
So
point.
maybe that was the case. But when it comes to Rodon, it's the right thing, and let's hope he finds a move, because Ali Gold said he's still not in his plan, so he's not looking at his time at Leeds thinking he could be a player. So let's hope he gets a Premier League move and we get some good cash.
Yeah, and I'm sure, I don't know about good cash, but I'm sure we can get at least in between 10 and 15 million for Joe Rodon after the season that he's had. Let's talk about a potential incoming Tammy Abraham. As Team Talk, one of the best publications out there, say that Tammy Abraham has been put up for sale by AS Roma, as they are willing to listen to offers for the former Chelsea striker. There are a number of sides keen to strengthen in attack, and sources have stated that he could end up back in the Premier League this summer. Tottenham, Aston Villa and West Ham all among the sides who are monitoring the situation, while separate reports suggest that Bournemouth and Leicester have also been showing interest. Spurs are keen to add to their front line, and sources have suggested they could be tempted to move for the 26-year-old this summer. Wasn't he at Aston Villa at one point?
He was on loan from Chelsea, Aston Villa, and did quite well in the Championship.
In the-
Scored a lot
yeah.
of goals for them.
I think he was like 26 goals or
He
something.
scored a lot. I used to be a big fan of Tammy Abraham, especially when he left Chelsea. I thought maybe Tottenham should put in a cheeky bid, because I thought actually there's a lot of value there. Young striker. Obviously, he's gone out to Roma, had a great season when they won the Conference League. The season after in Europa League, not as good. And then he got a cruciate ligament injury.
He actually got it on the last day of the season, I think.
Yeah, so he was pretty much this season ruled out for the whole season, which is a massive shame for him. I do think there's a good player in there. Obviously, he is English, but he's now 26. Is he going to take a whole year to get back to his best, essentially? So signing him now makes little sense for me as well. I do like his hold-up play, but I think his finishing could be quite inconsistent. Look, basically, how much money is it going to cost us to take Tammy Abraham? At least 30 million. You can put that money towards an Ivan Toney, which I'd much rather sign right now in this current market. So, for me, it's a no for Tammy Abraham. If he wasn't injured, I think I'd consider it more. But I think continues just coming off the back of an ACL. You just don't know what play you're going to get with him.
Yeah, I've never really been a big fan of Tammy Abraham. He's done well in the Championship, had an okay season for Chelsea, and he had a good season in his first year under Jose Mourinho. But he's always been a player who's blown hot and cold for me. One season on, one season off, one season on, one season off. And these are not the kind of players that we want at Tottenham, in my opinion. I feel like Jose Mourinho got a really good tune out of him, probably had his best season at a top level. And then Jose just couldn't get a tune out of him the season after. Scored about 6 or 7 goals, however many it was, maybe 8. But I remember Jose being really frustrated with Tammy Abraham in that second season. And I feel like if he was come to Spurs, he might have like an initial bounce and do well initially, but then he would just revert back to the mean, I think, like he always does. So I don't want to see Tammy Abraham at Spurs, but let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Moving on to another potential transfer incoming. This one's from Football League World, obviously a publication that does focus on the Football League. And this one says, Spurs hold a concrete interest in Leeds United's Archie Gray ahead of the summer window after his outstanding first full season in English football. Failure to win promotion was always going to have ramifications for the Yorkshire side as they gear up for another year outside the elite, and the financial benefits could follow in terms of selling a lot of talent. Chairman Parag Marath has already conceded that players will have to be sold, and several names have been linked away with moves this summer. Archie Gray is very interesting one, isn't it? Because he can fill multiple positions. He's played right back really successfully this season. He's been DM as well, 2 positions where we really need. And when you're talking about up and coming talent, he's definitely near the top of the list.
Definitely, and he's one of the biggest talents right now in the Championship. He's a natural midfielder, actually, but he has been filling in at right back due to Leeds' limited availability in that role. And he's kind of come in as a 17-year-old and really taken the Championship by storm. He's been absolutely phenomenal. I remember watching him in the FA Cup game against Chelsea in about January time, and he got man of the match at Stamford Bridge in a game. I think they lost 3-2, but he was absolutely phenomenal in that game. He was absolutely brilliant and literally controlled the midfield. He's got so much composure for a young player. It's quite incredible, and this guy is going to go places. He's been linked to some of the biggest clubs around Europe already. I think Bayer Leverkusen and Bayern Munich are both interested, saying that they want him next season. He's already a Premier League player. He's going to go right to the very top, and whoever gets him is going to be very lucky. So I do think it'll be a bit of a bidding war. And I do wonder whether we'll win that, but I'd absolutely love to because I think he's phenomenal.
It'll be interesting to see how much he goes for. How much do you reckon someone like him goes for? 18 years old, with the world at his feet, had a sensational season in the Championship. I mean, he's got a market value of 18 million, but you'd expect him to go for a lot more than that. I mean, his contract doesn't expire till 2028.
Maybe 40, 35, 40.
Yeah, and I think it'll be worth every penny, to be honest. That's how much I rate this guy. So let's hope we can get the deal over the line because it will be a big one for us. And also, maybe does that kind of alleviate the need to bring in a backup right back for Porro, do you reckon?
I would say so.
And moving on past transfer news, apparently Chris Davis has left the club. Peter O'Rourke and Ali Gold said earlier today that Chris Davis is in advanced talks to become Birmingham City's new manager. And apparently Spurs announced it?
Spurs have announced it?
Yeah, Spurs have just announced that Chris Davis has left the club to become Birmingham City's new manager. So a massive step up for him. So I want to wish him a big congratulations for the step up in his career. But he will leave a hole at Tottenham.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, our assistant manager for a year. Ange is known for not bringing his staff around. He usually gets a new kind of collection of staff whenever he moves to a new club. So I'm sure changing assistant manager is nothing new for him, and I'm sure he's already probably started looking for replacements, given that I'm sure Chris Davis was very open about Birmingham's interest. So hopefully it won't affect Tottenham too much, but obviously losing your first choice assistant manager who Ange appointed in the first place is probably not ideal, but I'm sure it's something that Ange has dealt with a lot of times in his career and can deal with that. But for Chris Davis himself, a brilliant opportunity for him. I really hope he goes and smashes it, and maybe in terms of him being manager of Birmingham in League One, he might consider taking some Spurs youngsters on loan. Yeah,
I hope so. I think there are a few players in that academy that are ready for the step up. I would think players like Jamie Donnelly might be I hope, a bit too good for League One at this point in time. But maybe some of the other ones, Judson Sotbell, someone like that, or maybe even someone like a Tyrese Hall, 18 years of age, only just broke into the under-21s halfway through the season. Maybe it's good to test him in a League One.
And Ange's quote is, Chris is an outstanding individual. He's done some fantastic work with us in the last season, and as I've said before, that will attract attention. So it's no surprise to me that a club like Birmingham Statue have shown interest in him. I'd like to thank Chris for all his hard work, and we wish him all the best.
Yeah, and as do we here at We Are Tottenham TV. We wish Chris Davis all the best in his career, and maybe we'll see him back at Tottenham one day. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Don't forget, the link is in the description below to enter the competition to win a t-shirt for you and your friend. All you need to do is click that link, enter your name and your email address, and you are in it to win it. The winner will be announced next week. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.